Hey, part 3. So I took our answer of 28 feet, 6 inches, and I looked to kind of check my answer. I searched how tall is one story, and it mentions on here that the height is about 10 feet. It also mentioned that when they were talking about it here, they're talking about it being 14 feet because it says the height of each story is based on the ceiling height of the rooms plus the thickness of the floors between. So I kind of put something together in my head. I was like, okay, so this is 10, this would be another 4, and then another 10, and then there's got to be a ceiling 4. So 10 and 10, 20 plus 4 and 4, 8, 28. So our estimate was a good estimate there. Okay, so then where does the Pythagorean theorem come in? Actually, it's the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. And if you take the root con meaning like against or opposite, it's almost like the opposite. Usually when you have your Pythagorean theorem, you've got a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Funky formula box. And usually we've got the a and b and we're trying to find the c. Well, it's kind of like the opposite of that. It's almost like you're given the c and then you can find the other two. So how we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem is to check our answer. So here we've got the 77.5. This was 64.5. Plug in a squared, b squared, and we're looking for the side opposite the right angle. Remember, that's the hypotenuse, and it's always the longest. So go ahead and solve this and see what you get for the hypotenuse of the triangle. So I squared 77.5, and then I squared 64.5. Now I'm going to add those two together. It's still equal to c squared. C is not by itself yet. The opposite of squaring something is to square root it. Since they're opposites, they cancel out. If you do it to one side, we've got to do it to the other side. So c is about equal to plus or minus 100.8. Of course, we don't want to use the negative one, so the correct answer, C, is about equal to 100.8 inches. Fill that in up here. C equals 100.8 inches, and it is supposed to be the longest of the three, and in fact, it is. Okay, so here's the triangle for our building, and we are going to go ahead and set it up using our proportions. Remember, all the information for the small triangle I'm going to put on top, and it doesn't have to be that way. Those kind of things can always be flip-flopped around, but I'm going to put all the small information on top. So I've got the hypotenuse for the small, and over here I know I'm going to take the base, 77.5. Now, why did I use the hypotenuse and the base? Well, because I know the base of the big one, it was 412 inches. So this is all my base information right here. So the base of the small one and the base of the large. And over here is my hypotenuse information. I know 108 for the small, and I'm looking for, I'm just going to call it X for right now, the hypotenuse of the large. Go ahead and do your cross products again. 77.5 times X is 77.5X. Keep my equal sign, it's a balance. 100.8 times 412. I get 41,000 529.6. Now I've got to get x by itself. The opposite of x times 77.5 is to divide 77.5. They're opposites, they cancel. Do it to one side, we've got to do it to the other. When I divide that, I get 535.8. And over here, I've still got the x. So x is about equal to 535.8 inches. And I'm going to fill that in up here. 535.8. Now that should be the longest side. And here's where you are going to check to make sure we've got that correct. Here's your Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Funky formula box. Go ahead and plug in your a and plug in your c, and you should end up with b. And b will be the height of the building. And we'll check to see if that is the same as what we got on the other side when we originally did it. So 412 squared plus b is going to be the height, which I'm looking for, I don't know, equals what we just got, 535.8 quantity squared. So here, 169,744 plus b squared equals this. I got 287,081.64. Right here, we've got to get b by itself, isolating the variable. So the opposite of plus all of this is to minus all of that. Cancels. If I do it to one side of the balance or the equal, kind of like a scale, I've got to do it to the other side. Subtract that, I end up with 17,337.64. Keep my equal sign there, and this side still has b squared. B's not by itself yet. The opposite of squaring is to square root it. If you do it to one side, you got to be fair and balanced, do it to the other. B is about equal to plus or minus 342.5. Again, we can't use the negative if it's a measurement. So B is about equal to 342.5 inches. And if we check back over on the other side, and we got 342.8 inches approximately. Did you get it? I hope you did. So the correct answer, approximating how tall is JMS, it is about 342.5 inches in one estimate, and the other we calculated 342.8 inches, but either way we decided it's about equal to, once we divided it by 12, put it back into feet and inches, about 28 feet 6 inches. Would be a good solid estimate. It's the longest side of all three. Filling this in here, 342.5. This was 535.8. I feel pretty confident we've got that because that's the longest side, the hypotenuse, opposite the right angle. And now from here, you could go outside, measure maybe the height of your house or maybe a tree. Just remember, when you get your shadow and the shadow of whatever you're measuring, you need to do it within 1 hour. They've said because, of course, your shadow changes because the sun is moving. So go ahead and try something at your house. Give me a message back, Flipgrid or email or Google Classroom. I don't care which way. Let me know what you measured, how it turned out, if you checked your answer, if it made sense. And then also, since summer break's going to be coming up soon, next time you're sitting around camping and you've got the lake there and you're like, I'm having such a great time camping. Boy, I really wish I could do some math. Here's the lake. You could measure across the lake without going in the water. You just have to make sure you've got your 90 degrees. You might have to extend it a little bit like we did with a rocket. Remember when we were doing landing the rocket on Discovery? The measurement here was 3 feet. You had to add that on. Go back and check out landing a rocket if you forgot. This straight measurement, perpendicular here. Let's say you had to go out an extra 2 feet. You could measure, use your a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and you could come up with whatever this amount was to get across the lake. Sounds like fun.